Welcome back, everyone. We have a great guest with us. We have Dave from Signs of the Swarm. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for coming on, man. Very excited about the new record. It's pretty fucking great, not gonna lie.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you. This is just the first initial taste of what we got going on. I can't wait to let it loose out in July. A lot of hard work got poured into this one.
I can tell. Because this is your third release with Signs of the Swarm. Would you say your vocal approach has changed at any given time with this one?
Yeah, I definitely took a step back and I wanted to try to make the songs more catchy. Just so it felt more like you're listening to a song. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, I feel like that I needed to like take a step back and kind of like let the songs like speak for themselves in a way.
Mhm.
Um, but lyrically, I stuck with the same true Signs vibe. You know what I mean? It just has a different hit to it this time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And then I've read that Bobby is the main songwriter. How do you guys go about writing and recording together since you're the vocalist?
Well, for this record, we wrote it in studio.
Mhm.
So Bobby was locked up inside Studio B, and I was locked up in the piano prison. Little room with like pianos and stuff in it, and he had his rig set up, and I had mine set up. Us running Mac, we had um, the accessibility of airdropping each other files easily. So we were pretty much just in separate rooms, just cooking away. I had Mike, our bass player, with me, kind of working on some lyric stuff,
Mhm.
while Bobby was inside Studio B working with Josh Schroeder. Um, and pretty much I gave him like all the song titles that I had written and everything, and I sent him like some just like general ideas of what the songs are going to be about because I like to write to the actual song. I kind of have a hard time writing ahead of time. Like, yeah, I'll have like a catchy idea or something like that, and I'll write it down. But I genuinely like to like write to the song it just feels more organic that way. Um, but I gave Bobby the topics and stuff, and he kind of just dove right in. And he was like, I feel like that with this topic, we need this kind of push and pull, or we need to give some ambient room so I can fucking just go insane for a second. You know what I mean? Um, and plus, a lot of stuff was like just it was just easy. You know what I mean? We usually would write via Skype where we share like screen share and we'll like work on a DAW together and stuff.
Dang.
But with our hectic tour schedule last year, we didn't have that much time to really orchestrate those meetings. And we kind of had to start from scratch whenever we got into the studio.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel like that we created something special just because it was made in studio and
Oh, yeah.
um, it's just raw emotion in that moment.
And you're saying that you guys had a crazy tour schedule last year. How long did it take for you guys to write and record this?
We wrote and recorded this in an accumulation of 5.5 to 6 weeks.
Dang, that's not bad.
Yeah. We spent the first initial like it was like 3.5 weeks, give or
Mhm.
take, out in Michigan working at the studio every day. It was like literally like clocking into work. Like you'd pull up and go into the studio and just start working, dude. Um, and then that's whenever we kind of, like we would kind of just like go into Josh's and just, it felt like a job, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And just worked out.
And so you said you guys wrote most of this, all of this in studio. Were all these just new songs, or did you guys bring any like archive songs that you guys had from the
No,
past in?
we canned everything we were going to bring into studio.
Mhm.
That was just moving forward. Our plan was to just in the studio just do it.
Nice.
That's where we worked with producers Josh Schroeder, Cameron Loesch, and Josh Travis. Um, those guys really helped bring some extra little spice to the record, like production wise and stuff. It was awesome working with them. Um, Definitely added some like extra sugar to the record, you know?
Definitely. Um, so like you're saying, you wrote all this in house. Did anything get left off the record?
Yeah, there was one song that didn't get onto the record. It's kind of just like sitting in Signs Purgatory right now. We're not entirely sure like what we're gonna do with it. Um, might end up releasing it later sometime, maybe. But it's definitely a different song, and it definitely could have been on the record. It was originally supposed to be on the record, but whenever we went back, um, like initially we were there for the 3.5 weeks, but then we went back for an additional week and a half where like we ended up finalizing the record. We sat on it for a little bit, and that's whenever we created Faces Without Names and Melody, and it kind of replaced that one song, and kind of hit over the mark that we were supposed to do. So that kind of we're like, you know, we're gonna save that one. It's a
Yeah,
nice little sweet gem that we can release whenever we need to, you know.
definitely. And if you find like where it could be a single or a next album. Um, so this is your third release with the band. So do you feel like you guys have found your sound with you, or do you guys still you're still finding it?
I feel like that our sound is just constantly evolving because we're just evolving as musicians.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Everyone's growing in different ways. We do have a new member, Carl. So I believe that the we're constantly going to keep growing as a band, and we're going to be able to keep bringing new and organic, fresh takes of Signs of the Swarm, where it's familiar but it's still fresh and new. And that was like the approach with what we wanted to do with this record. Um, with this record, every single song on it has something to appease all of our fans from all the previous types of material that we used to do, like with Vital Deprivation or with Absolvir, or even older material before my time. We wanted to reflect and show that we're still tried and true to our sound, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But we wanted to give a fresh take on it, show what 2023 Signs sounds like, you know?
Mhm.
Um, but I do believe that we will constantly be growing and evolving as a band just because that's who we are as people.
Oh yeah. That's that all makes sense. And that's good that you guys are like kind of like touching back in like the old signs before you, and then when you did join, and like we all need that fresh little taste because
Yeah,
eventually it gets a little stale after a little bit.
it'll be heavy, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like it was just like we wanted to try to do some stuff that's different, you know?
Well, yeah. And then you have many different vocal styles. How did you find like your voice?
Honestly, it was a lot of just feeling like the emotion of the song and feeling what it's like. It just like shows up in my head.
Mhm.
It might be from the influence that I've had growing up, just always wanting to be able to create and create and create, you know what I mean? And then trying to make that voice that's in my head come to life. Um, that's probably the hardest part of it, you know, because there's times where like I wish I could I could have done it. I'm the worst critique of myself, you know. Uh, if you had my choice, I'd sit there and track the song 30 times and then pick which one was the best. You know what I mean?
But that's
Um,
like with every musician though. So that really, in all honesty, like you can have 30 different ways, but there's always going to be one that fits. And I feel like with the way you guys went about this, your vocals fit perfectly. You have your like screams and like squeals and good spots, and you have like your crazy, like, your crazy energy in the other spots. It's perfect. You did a perfect.
like, thank you. I try to like keep it for the right spots. Like, I try not to spam it because I feel like that was like one of my growing pains whenever I was in my first record of Vital Deprivation. I need to spam this vocal. Like I just need to keep doing it.
Mhm.
And and I learned how to be a little bit more sparing with it. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
it's supposed to be that moment. You know what I mean? And it was definitely a growing pain for me, but definitely something that I apply for this stuff now. You know,
Oh yeah. And that's good. Like you figure out what works for you, and that's how you evolve as a musician.
that's what
So
I'm saying, dude. It's all about growth.
it's perfect though. Like you see all these bands, like they grow every album. It's better to grow than sound the same for the because it gets stale. Like I said earlier, it gets stale. So it's cool to get evolve. So what vocal warm ups do you do before recording and playing live?
For recording, I don't do anything. I literally live how I normally would. I
Mm.
smoke cigarettes. I smoke weed. Um, the only thing I would try to do is stay away from caffeine like an hour before I'm tracking, maybe. But that's just to stay precautious because I don't want to blow my voice out in the
Oh yeah.
studio and then complicate the schedule and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But like for like this record, a majority of my vocals were tracked while I was sitting down. A lot of times my feet
Mhm.
were put up on a music stand, like so I was essentially almost laying down. This is probably the most relaxed form of my vocals, and that's just because I was encouraged to track it like that, and it definitely shows more emotion, and it definitely shows a lot of control in my voice. Um, it's just a different take on my voice because I definitely track the record differently than I normally would.
Mhm.
Um, I would usually track the record handheld, have the mic in my hand, and just rip away. This time I was tracking with a mic stand and sitting down, laying down. Sometimes I was standing up. Sometimes I was using a megaphone. Uh,
Dang.
sometimes a tape recorder. I was doing a lot of weird stuff for this record, to be honest. Really wanted to capture like the psycho vibe. You know what I mean? We tried to have this like just be something so different that like it could be like used in like horror movies and
Oh
like
yeah.
psycho killer stuff. You know what I mean? I don't
Dang,
know.
but that's cool. You guys went a different approach, like megaphones, tape recorders. That's very experimental. A lot of people don't go that like different, and that's what
Yeah.
made you want to do that. I know you said you want to do something different, like horror, but how'd that idea come about?
Which idea?
Like the megaphones, the tape recorders,
Honestly,
bringing all that in.
a lot of Josh Schroeder. He was like, "Hey, you like Stone Temple Pilots?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And fucking, he was like, "What song do you like?" And I was like, "You know that song that goes, I am," and he started fucking dying. And he was like, "Yeah, dude." He was like, "You definitely have that influence to you." He was like, "Why don't you use the megaphone?" And I was like, "You know what? That's brilliant. Let's do it." There's actually a part in our new single we just released, Malady. Uh, the part where Carl's backup vocal is before the chanting part, like that real big, like that thing. He used the megaphone for that part as well.
Would you ever bring those live? If so, like bring them in. Be like, hey guys, we're gonna like do the Stone Temple Pilots version of this. All crazy, all Scott.
Yo, that'd be fucking crazy, but I don't think that'd go over well.
The fans be like, "What the heck's this?"
Literally
Because a
just
lot of people don't. Well, a lot of people don't know that you do stuff like that to get certain sounds, so they'd be very like shocked to see you bring shit like that out. You know?
yeah. See, like, we wanted it to sound like in a cave at times, and that's whenever we use the megaphones, like sound distorting of like it being so loud and trying to capture it, and also adding like production to it as well, to kind of like alter it. So it's like we were trying to like make the soundscape for an image that would be in your head in a sense. You know what I mean?
And you're saying you got like kind of like emotional kind of on this record. Is there any lyrics that you wrote or sang that hit you hard when you're singing them?
Yeah, honestly, a lot of this record, to be honest. There's the one part in Dream Killer, it's not released yet. but that has like a lot of like little things about like me personally throughout that song, where it takes me down some kind of sad avenues, because it just reminds me of like the things that I've kind of gone through and I've overcome. You know what I mean? Same thing with Malady, because like those are true emotions that in battles that I deal with. You know what I mean? And I try to voice it because I feel like that someone out there might need to hear somebody else say it. You know what I mean? And maybe that will encourage them to get some help, because that's what I did. You know what I mean? It took me hearing somebody else saying, like, shit, fucking somebody else feels like this. I'm not the only one. I don't have to feel like this. You know what I mean? At least that's what I try to do, because that's what the music that I create has done for me. You know what I mean? At least I hope it helps somebody. You know what I mean? Because that's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
Um, to be specific, like in Dream Killer, like there's this band that I listened to where it cracked my where I cracked my head open, and listening to them, called Rusted Root, and fucking like I reference the rust has taken root, like it's like a little Easter egg in my writing. I have a lot of things like that where it's like there and it like references something of my work, like how Tower of Torsos is the continuance of Crown of Nails and Totem. You know what I mean? Lyrically, like a lot of my stuff, kind of like I like to tell a big story that, you know what I mean? And then like sometimes whenever fans are like, "Oh shit, I remember that." You know what I mean? Like whenever that happens, I think that's really fucking cool. Because like there'll be times whenever I get my bandmates with it, I'll be like, "Yo, what do you guys think of this line?" And they're like, "Yo, the nails from my crown now driven in my totem. That is the hardest shit ever." You know what I mean? Like I'm referencing two songs in a bar. You know what I mean? Like that's so sick.
I think a lot of people like stuff like that, or like having like little Easter eggs in songs, like because a lot of people are just like they listen to the lyrics and some catch it on, some don't,
Right.
and I think that's cool that you kind of do stuff like that because your fans that are actual fans will see that and be like, oh, dude, I see that. Oh my god, that reference. Oh, that's so cool. He
I'm
referenced two songs.
all about, you know what I mean? Because like I'm one of those nerds that like listening to like reading the lyrics and like callbacks to other shit. Like I'm like, yo, this is so insane. You know what I mean? I appreciate it so much.
I think that's like the best when people are like that. So you've been on a lot of insane tours already. Do you have a dream tour lineup that you would like to happen with you guys?
I want to tour Fear Factory and Meshuggah so
Ooh.
fucking bad.
Hey, Dino's a cool guy. Like I think he'd be down for something like that.
And I want to tour with the Acacia Strain.
Ooh, new record's sick too.
Very big influence on me growing up. I remember going to all their shows growing up. Like they're monumental for me personally. That's like an up there like goal, like how I had touring with Whitechapel, like which I would love to tour with them again. Don't get me wrong, I love those guys were fucking amazing. You know what I mean? But like bands I haven't toured with, definitely the Acacia Strain, Meshuggah, and Fear Factory, 100%.
Dang. And so with you saying Fear Factory and like Meshuggah, would you say that has some type of vocal influence on you?
Honestly, it has influence on our music as a whole.
Mhm.
That is like what really kind of like gets me and Bob really fucking hyped. You know what I mean? Like that's like the stuff whenever we're like, yo, you want to listen to some metal while we're driving? That's the shit we're putting on. You know what I mean? Or Gojira. But like
Any
uh
specific record?
uh honestly, we fucking just be jumping around all over the place, man. You know what I mean? Like fucking like we usually kick back older Meshuggah records while we're driving just because it's like nostalgic for us.
Mhm.
We like to try to stay away from like playing. We try to play like a variety of things where it's like not the same thing. So like it's not always just them and stuff, you know what I mean? But it's a hard like if you're on our playlist in our band, you're gonna hear at least like 12 songs between the two bands.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
pretty cool. And then, so with us talking about touring, do you have a favorite band you've toured with?
A favorite band that I've toured with. That's a hard one.
I know, right?
Just like, man, that's a tough one. Man, that's a tough one.
If you could narrow it down to like a top five, what would your top five be?
I'll do a top three.
Okay.
I'll do a top three. Definitely Whitechapel. That was the most welcoming tour that I've ever been on in my entire career. Um, it was just a great time. It was amazing. Everyone was great on that tour.
Mhm.
Fucking tip top. Um, and then I'd have to say Born of Osiris tour.
Ooh.
Just because like that tour was a lot of fun. It was with Shadow of Intent. They're great friends of ours as well. You know what I mean? Like that's definitely up in the top. Um, Also, our Front Sentinels were on that too. So it was like just real big friend fest. Um, just a lot of good hangs that tour. And then I would definitely have to say Chaos and Carnage, just because that was a big
Oh yeah.
that was a big fun run. I got to tour with Suicide Silence. That was like fuck
Carnifex?
yeah, that was crazy to me, dude. You know what I mean? Getting to fucking chill with like Carnifex, getting to hang out with Lorna, like especially I got to watch that explosion happen for them, like in real time. You know what I mean? Like that was so fucking cool. Um, like getting to fucking hang out with the guys in Angel Maker, like the guys in Distant. Like honestly, that tour was so much fun. We played our first real fest, So What Festival, like at that Dallas Stadium.
Mhm.
That was so I'd say that those were like the top three tours for me personally.
Hey,
No
they're all great too.
else, I promise. Like it's just fucking those are just like the top three just because they're
Well,
the top,
I mean, Chaos and Carnage makes a lot of sense. That was like a banger like tour lineup. I even went to that because it landed on like a Nam weekend, so we got to see you guys play. It was that was like one of the best tour lineups I've seen in a while. So that
So
was
you
insane.
actually saw us live.
Yeah,
Dude,
of course.
that's so cool. Not too many people I get to do interviews with and stuff like have actually saw us and like been to a show. So this is fucking sick.
um, that and what sucks though, like, is like with the how small because you guys are growing as you guys put out records, so it was kind of sucks because you guys got to play like a small set. So like it's cooler that you guys are starting to grow and become a bigger band. So you guys are gonna start putting on longer sets. So that's like
Yeah,
cool.
I'm looking forward to like we got some headline stuff cooking up that we're thinking that's going to be happening coming up. And we're like starting to work our way up like in like supporting slots where that's amazing, you know what I mean? And it definitely gives us more room to play more songs
Oh yeah.
because like a lot of times we're like fuck dude, like we only have like 25, 30 minutes. We have to pick one banger that everyone's going to love and then showcase what we're trying to showcase that's new. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like it sucks because we feel like that we're like kind of like disregarding our whole discography,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's hard to be able to do so much in such a little time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I agree. Like it's insane because you get 25, 30 minutes when all the rest of the bands get 45, maybe an hour. Well, Suicide gets like, a
That
huge
are
amount,
there
but
are there for them. You know what I mean? Like that's like the thing of being a support band. Not too many people really know you, so you know what I mean. And like that's just something you got to do. You just got to be able to show up, be a great support band. Hope you impress some people that will become your new fans. You know.
mhm.
Um, and if not, then hope that there's great hangs. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I agree. And but a lot of people don't get like eventually Suicide Silence will want to toss down like the torch of deathcore to someone else, and it's like you guys could be the next one. Lorna's already becoming that,
yeah, I
so
feel
it's
like
like people should support and go and see. Like it's nice seeing like the smaller bands because then I get to say I got to see you guys before you guys made it on Lorna's level. You
yeah.
know?
Feel like I appreciate whenever larger bands allow us to like come out and like open up the show for them and support the tour, and like have like some fan like science
Yeah.
fans come in and like hoping, you know what I mean? Like I really love whenever we get the opportunity to do that kind of stuff. And I also feel like it's such a privilege to be able to share the stage with these artists.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? These are people that have paved the way for even me
Oh
personally.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like being able to just hang outside stage and watch Phil Bozeman every fucking day. Like that was shit like I was dreaming about whenever I was in high school. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's crazy to me whenever like that kind of shit happens, you know, like um but very appreciative of the opportunities and everything that comes with that, you know.
Oh yeah. And I think it's cool they do stuff like that. With you going on tour with bands like that, what do you learn from them?
Honestly, I learn a lot. Um like I learn what it's like being at the next stage of the
Mhm.
career. You know what I mean? There's more to it than what I'm doing now. And I thought we were doing a lot now. You know what I mean? And then it's just like, oh, you just scratched the surface of just your in-ear rig, for example. Like
Yeah.
we upgraded our in-ear rig, and then it's like, oh, we could even upgrade it even more. You know what I mean? Where it takes us up one more step of things where things aren't that complicated, or we don't have to deal with like frequency interference and things like along those lines, you know. Um, but yeah, but
A
learn that-
lot of bands say they learn to downgrade because they bring so much on the first few tours that going on tour with bigger bands like that, they like Oh Sulfur, they've made it where they practically bring no gear. That's where
see,
they live.
I uh I have a very strong belief of like how many things to bring as a support band just because I've done so many support tours. My drummer Bobby does like a big influence on like our orders and stuff as well. But like we've shot ourselves in the foot bringing too much before. We shot ourselves in the foot bringing not enough. There's been time you can never really predict how good merch is going to do. You know what I mean? Like I might print a t-shirt design where I think it's the coolest thing ever, but you might look at it and be like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like just to be truthful about it, you know what I mean? That's it in a nutshell. But I don't know. It's hard. Merch is a hard token to play around with in this industry. Um, because like you can't like say your garments are like really expensive,
Mhm.
and whenever like say in like you're charging more than most people would because it's a more higher end garment instead of just like a plain t-shirt, you know what
Yeah,
I mean? And some people may not want to pay for that extra bit to get that nicer quality shirt that's actually going to last longer.
true.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of the industry is a lot of fast fashion, unfortunately. That's something that I've been trying to like kind of uh, instill on trying to get things that are more long lasting and
Mhm.
higher grade merch. We've been kind of like making sure a quality control has kind of been put in place to make sure that the stuff's not fading out, or you get a pair of gym shorts and like the print on it is off in less than a month and six washes. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We try to get merchandise for like women where like it has like for our booty shorts we try to have like the hygienic stitching in there
Mhm.
to like try to be cautious of things for our fans, but it's like it's definitely a hard thing to with merch as a whole though, not even just tour, it's just as a entirety,
Oh yeah.
having multiple stores and stuff like that. It's a total headache.
I bet.
I'm very lucky to have my manager on our side that kind of crushes everything for us. So he takes a lot of headache off me with that stuff.
It's definitely nice to have someone that takes a little bit off when especially when you're it's
Well,
already
a
crazy
lot,
enough being in a band.
not gonna lie, a lot of it.
Well, it's already crazy being in a band anyway, so it's like you're like running around with your head cut off basically half the time.
Dude,
especially on tour. So
technology that I give to my drummer Bobby a lot. I was like, dude, we're just running around with machine guns, just shooting whatever we see. You know what I mean? Fucking but I think we dialed it back to it being more of like we're running around with a sniper scope now, trying to be more effective with our decisions and stuff like that. Just we are growing as people, so like we plan on trying to have like our ventures grow and mature as well.
and do you have any tour rituals?
Tour rituals, oh shit. My personal tour ritual is like I'll get um like a hair tie or a hair clip from my fiance and I stick it inside my suitcase. Um, Another thing that I usually do is I pack 3 times. Uh,
It's a lot.
Anytime that I don't pack 3 times, uh, I forget something. Because I'm honestly the fucking worst whenever it comes with that shit. But another tour ritual. Um, I always count. I always
Fair.
before we're going in, count merch and stuff. Like make sure everything's on as much as I can. Unless like we're leaving at like 5 in the morning, and I'm like, fucking shoot me whenever I wake up. You know what I
A
mean? Like
lot of
wake
that's
up.
a lot of counting though, man. I give you props, especially like or like marking it down. Okay, there's 350 shirts here, and there's
Yeah, there's a lot because like sometimes like we might not get all of our order. They might have forgot a stack and they thought they stuck it all in there. You know what I mean? And we're paying for that
of
stuff.
course.
Yeah, it's like we take shifts on it though. Um, a tour ritual, like being on tour, like we kind of always like go to this little restaurant called Cookout.
Mhm.
Um, that's like a mandatory must, like for us, if we're in the area that they're there. It's like random picnic food, like
Okay.
at super dirt cheap, and it's just like what we like toured on like in the beginning days, and it's like a pack of ramen noodles. You know you like it every once in a while, and
Yeah,
if you say you don't, you're lying. You know what I mean? Like
that's true. How'd you guys come up? Like, okay, you toured on food like that. How'd you guys find this place?
honestly, that place is just like you see it once you're in the South. You see it. You know.
Hmm.
Another one is Bucky's. That's a ritual. Like we anytime there's a Bucky's within a mile of the road that we're on, we're going.
That
Or
makes
I'd say more than a mile, maybe like 10 miles.
sense. I love that that's like so many people's tour ritual to go there. I
Well,
mean,
it's just
it's like
like
an amusement park of gas stations, anyways.
it is, but like it's just like a very convenient place because you could stop, you could get everything that you physically need, and then it's like, all right, see ya. Back on the road. We don't got to stop at Walmart. We don't got to stop here. We don't got to stop there. It's everything all at once: food, bathroom, clothes if you're down that bad. But it's uh
I'm like thinking you guys are when you say clothes, I'm thinking you're buying the onesie of Bucky and like that's what you guys are buying if you're that in dire need of clothes. That's what I'm assuming.
honestly, we I swear we have at least two in our van. Actually, uh, I know Bobby will like fucking throw it on every once in a while, and he'll just like run around. Um, but like, yeah, like we wear like the Bucky's button ups. We wear like the Bucky shorts. We wear Bucky hats. Like
Now
we've
you
been
guys got
so
to
many times
incorporate
we
that into your
them
merch.
prop stuff where it's like, yo, did you see that black Bucky's windbreaker with the camo on the inside? That shit's hard as fuck. Oh, you already bought it? Fuck, I'm beat. I guess I'll wait till the next time I'm in Bucky's. Find something cool.
This
You
sounds like tour conversations you have with other bands too. That's exactly what that sounds like. Did you buy the windbreaker? Yes, I bought the windbreaker.
you know what's awkward is whenever two people buy the same windbreaker and then they show up the same day wearing the same thing. Like because they just bought it.
That's awesome though.
It's like
That's
the Spider-Man meme, just like everybody pointing at each other. It's funny.
Do you have any crazy eating habits while you're on tour?
Oh fuck, dude. Honestly, anything I could get my hands on. Honestly, it's kind of hard to it's hard to get food sometimes. It depends on like what the tour is or like what the city's like or where we're at, you know what I mean? It's it's kind of if all right, I'm a huge sucker for sushi. So if I see sushi, I'm going to go get it, but that's just because I like eating light. Anytime that I eat heavy before I play, I usually throw up after I play just because I'm working so hard on my diaphragm.
Mhm.
It's just like I don't want to feel all bloated on stage and stuff, you know what I mean? So I try to find things that are light. A lot of the times I'm not that lucky, and then I'm just like eating fast food, and it
Mhm.
sucks. Honestly, like the post tour ritual is that like I go to my local market district and I get some crazy shit, and then I cook myself a great meal.
Hey, that's a great ritual though. Do you guys have any crazy like tour rider requests?
Um, we ask for weed, Red Bull, and water. We really don't ask for much. Sometimes, like, whenever we're in legal states, they'll get us like some weed. Uh,
Nice.
but like whenever we go into like states where it's not like recreational, that's whenever like we're just like Red Bull, water. If you want to get us a bag of chips, cool. Fucking, uh, none of us really drink. Sometimes the like Bobby, Mike, and Carl, they'll like have like a social beer or whatever, or maybe it was a bad night, bad drive, and then it's like, hey, I'm gonna go take a shot and go to sleep, you know.
Mhm.
But most of us, we don't like drink to party or anything like that. I don't personally drink at all.
Dang, that's cool.
Yeah, I got lost in it back in the day, so I just don't need it.
Hey, and that's probably more helpful for your voice on tour, anyways.
Oh yeah, I'm not blowing it out, getting all fucking just like drunk, you know,
Yeah.
yelling over top of people at the bar and shit. Like, no thanks, I'm good on that.
And for you vocally, how do you get ready for a tour?
There's actually a lot of preconditioning whenever it comes to touring. I'm currently about to be starting my cycle for my Europe tour coming up. Um, I go to the gym and I do a sets time worth of cardio every day. I wake up before 9 a.m. I am at the gym before 9 a.m. and I do like for my I'm doing a lot of headliner sets. So I'm doing 50 minutes of cardio a day.
Mm.
Um, I'm also listening to the songs while I'm working out. Uh, and then like pretty much like about like the 3 week mark away from flying out or getting in the van or whatever, that's whenever I'll start doing vocal conditioning, whenever I'll start running through the sets as I would in my office. Like I just put the songs on and I just yell at my wall.
Dang.
uh, I find out what parts I need to kind of like, because like with my music I have to like plan a lot of my breathing out just because a lot of my stuff is extensive.
Mhm.
um so I have to physically sit and map out my breathing for the entire set. So as I'm going through the songs, kind of planning out like, okay, this is where I'm going to be able to kind of like be able to vibe out with the song a bit and actually like just like enjoy myself and rock out, you know what I mean? Or this is the part where this next part's really tough and I need to make sure that I'm on my shit. So maybe don't go nuts at this part. You know what I mean? It's more performance planning with the breathing as well. You know what I mean? Um, but there's a lot to it. You know what I mean? Because like you got to think like it's like I'm fronting this this experience. You know what I mean? Like because like you want to try to make the show more than experience, so you have to make sure that you're like physically capable to be able to be doing what you're doing for X amount of time. So that's where the cardio comes into play. You want to know what you're going to be doing, so that's whenever like performance like planning comes into play, and then you don't want to pass out because like you're just exerting so much energy for such a elongated amount of time. And that's where like kind of the breathing placement kind of planning comes into play. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much like the stuff that I try to focus on before
Mhm.
leaving for tour. We don't normally practice before leaving. It's kind of like everyone kind of shows up and it's like you did your homework, right? You know what I mean? And then we just like rip it.
Hey, that's cool though.
Yeah.
It's smart that you actually plan it out. With you saying like there is like some parts that can be kind of hard for you. Is there any songs that you consider hard for you to sing?
Um, See, it's not hard. Like the song, like if you were to say like, all right, I want you to throw this football after doing 100 push-ups, versus I want to see you throwing this football right before doing those 100 push-ups. There's
Mhm.
going to be a difference. It's like if this song is maybe slightly a more challenging song, we try to think about that. You know what I mean? Like maybe we don't want to be playing like something that's going to be crazy hard. You know what I mean? Like whenever
Mhm.
we're at the end of an hour and a half long set, you know what I mean? Or there's a lot of times where we don't like think like that and we just like kind of just like pick what songs we think would be best for the tour and fit
Mhm.
that. But whenever we're planning like headliner stuff, like we try to think of things that will help us uh keep our endurance while playing, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So we're able to continue like kind of like performing for everybody, you know what I mean? Think about going at 100 like for so long, you're gonna hit a wall eventually.
Oh yeah. And then so I always like to ask you, yeah, you listen to music on the daily, of course. Does your music change from the daily when you're on tour compared to like your day to day not on tour?
Um, Honestly, I don't listen to music much while I'm on tour unless we're driving.
Hmm.
Um, that's just because like I'm kind of just like on music overload a little bit. You know what I mean? There'll be a lot of times where like whenever we're driving, I just want to put Netflix on. You know what I mean? Like and but like whenever I do listen to music, like whenever I'm drawing and stuff on tour, like I'll pop my headphones in. I'm still listening to the same stuff. Or maybe if like somebody turned me on to something new, because that's 100% always happens majority of the time.
Hmm.
Um it's very, very cool whenever like you run into somebody, you make a new friend on tour and they're like, you've never heard of this band? And then they show you one of their good records and then you're like, yo, that's sick. And then you end up diving into that band and then you listen to a couple records and you're like, holy shit, you know what I mean? How did I
Yeah.
sleep on these guys? That's always the best for me. But for the most part, my music does kind of stay the same. um, Whenever I'm on tour, I like listening to like a lot of like hip hop stuff, like Harper Ramirez. I don't know. I like, I don't know. I'll like listen to like 3 6 Mafia sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, or maybe I'm like drawing stuff for like Tattoo Worlds, and like I want to get in that headspace. So like I'll put on like Mad Season or some form of Alice in Chains or I don't know, like Circus Survive or something. It's always changing. You know what I mean? Um, but like whenever I'm at home, that's whenever like I like listening to metal and stuff. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I feel like that I'm on metal overload sometimes. Like whenever like I do like very long tours and then I do a tour directly after that. You know what I mean? Like every day listening to metal, it's like it's it's great, you know what I mean? But sometimes I like mixing it up and just like kind of playing something a little different, you know?
Oh yeah. And then so you've been in the band for a while. Is there any song that you play live that still hits you the same?
Shit. What do you mean by hits me the same?
So when you play like something for the first time, it's like, oh my god, this is awesome. And then like so every time you play it's your favorite one in the set or something like that.
Um, I'd say the collection was always like one of those like I'm fucking stoked that we get to
Mhm.
play that songs, you know what I mean? But a song that kind of like hit with me like emotionally though is out because how it aged was Boundless Manifestations. I wrote that song about somebody that was close to me and they died.
Ah,
So and it was from the thing that I wrote about in that song. That song's about heroin addiction. Uh,
mm,
but yeah, and so that song, like we're playing that song for Europe, and
nice.
that's why whenever you said hits, I was like, damn, because that shit just hit me. Whenever like I was listening to the song,
Mhm.
kind of just like doing some of my prepping, you know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of weird that you brought that up, actually. So,
um so do you feel like there's any staples like in your sets that have to be played every show?
uh, Death Whistle, 100%. That's grown to be a very stable song.
Mhm.
I always hear a lot of people being mad whenever we don't play Pernicious, or I always hear people screaming, play Pernicious. Um, but I would like to say, like, Totem has grown to be a staple song. Um, Trying to think of like whenever like we start playing the intro when people are fucking like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Like, um,
It's like the best feeling ever too. It's like, oh my god.
no, that's what I'm saying, dude. You know, what I mean, like, whenever we pop out Malevolent and Enslavement, people are always like, you know, like that's always one. Um, I feel like that people are going because like we're playing a song for the first time on this Europe tour from Absolver that we never played live before. It's one of the only two songs we've never played live. Um, and I believe that people are going to be like, "Holy shit, it's happening!" You know what I mean? I feel like that's going to be a little treat for Europe and the UK for whenever we go over there.
That'd be
Just
cool.
because we did give them like the first live performance of the collection,
Mhm.
so we feel like that they're in for a little treat. Because
Yep.
since this will
Good
be our
one.
first headlining run over there and co-headlining run with Humanity's Last Breath, um, yeah, I feel like that it'll be a nice little treat for like a first for us. So we'll give a first for them. You know what I mean?
Mhm. It's gonna be cool. So how often do you guys change the set list?
Every tour,
Nice.
we do not play the same set list ever.
That's cool though.
The only like say it from tour to tour, the set will be the same. I mean, it will be different. You know what I mean? Like, but for that tour, it's the same. You know what I mean? Like, so Whitechapel, we had one set list, but whenever we went to Mexico, we changed that set list.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Since it was our first time in Mexico, we played songs from the old discography. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We have never been there, so we had they said an hour minimum, but we
Mm,
just played like I think it was like an hour, or something, almost hour 20.
that's perfect.
Um, but just like playing old songs, like we played like the old hits from back whenever the old guy was in the band. Just because they've never had it, you know what I mean? We feel like that us being there for our first time that we should pop those things out for them, you know what I mean? Plus it being a headliner, we're able to squeeze all that shit out like we were talking about earlier, you know.
Yeah. Here's one of my like last tour questions for you. Do you have like a favorite like show or tour you've like done, or like is there a favorite city you like playing?
Um I love I have like a top 5.
Okay. Let's,
Um
let's hear it.
I can't like give like just one. You know what I mean? Um I love playing Pittsburgh.
Mm.
Um it takes me back every single time that I see my friends there with me. and it reminds me of everything. So it has a special place in my heart. But Nashville, that was the first place I've ever played with Signs of the Swarm. So that's like my second hometown type
Nice.
show. You know, like if we were playing Nashville, I consider that like close to my heart just because that was the first place I played at the end. Man, I remember pulling up shit in my pants, dude. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
fucking but then I'd have to say Baltimore because I love the city. Baltimore is one of my favorites. Um, Definitely Boston. A lot of friends out there. Love the Palladium. It's great, great community out there in Mass. Um, get to see my friends at the Vocal Institute, the EVI Extreme Vocal Institute. Get to see my friends out there every time I'm out there, so that's always a great city to hit. And then finally, I want to say Texas as a whole.
Dang. Those are
Um,
some really cool places.
Texas shows us so much love.
Mhm.
I love hitting Dallas. I love hitting Houston. I love going to Rodeo Goat. I love that fucking restaurant. It's the best burger place in the world. I've had burgers everywhere in the world. And Rodeo Goat in Houston, it's Houston, yeah. I always mix them up between Houston and Austin. But Houston, they got the best burgers. Fucking anyone in Texas. Yeah, anyone in Dallas. I mean, anywhere in Houston, go to Rodeo Goat. Fucking get those goated fries. Like it's literally like what they're called. It's like
Yeah.
it's so sick. But their food's so good. It's like truffle fries, like their gourmet burgers are good. Not expensive either. But yeah, but Austin, like come and take it. Love that place. They got the greatest like little like food trucks around the area. Um just it's so I just love Texas a lot.
I could tell just a little bit.
Yeah, it's all, I have so many friends down there and you know what I mean? Like Texas,
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Um,
those are like the top five. But like I could keep going like
of
on
course.
favorite, but like it's just every place has a special place in my heart. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I go to Michigan, I have all my friends out there where I get to see them. I go to California, I get to see like my Mortis Viventi friends, and I get to run around on the West Coast. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
Seattle, one of my favorite cities. You know what I mean? Like, but it's like not top five though. You know,
Yeah.
like
But that may I feel like you have like a solid 5. I mean, some of them are a little random for me because but then again, I'm from the
yeah.
West Coast, so
You know,
but like
I'm more of like a personal experience person than hype guy. You know what I mean?
oh, that's
Like
really cool
people, a lot of people hate Baltimore, and they're just like, "Why are you so stoked to be by the bay?" And I'm like, "It's gorgeous, dude." You know what I mean? Like, fucking, I don't know, like, plus great food out there.
though. Sure.
I don't know.
So you guys recently did a track with Matt from Trivium. Who else would you love to collaborate with in the future?
I have a few that I would love to get going. I would love to get Travis Ryan on a track. Um, I have this like crazy. I've had this crazy idea where, like, I want to do like this really like low pattern. Well, Travis is like I want to make like an orchestra, like a choir, better than orchestra. It's a choir where it would be me, Travis Ryan, and Michael Keane. And I think Michael Keane doing his like singing tone. I think it would be the most menacing sound to ever come, but I have never been able to get that uh, vision to come to life. Unfortunately, it's something that I would really love to do, and I've been trying to do for years now. I've poked around trying to make it happen. It just hasn't been able to happen.
Yeah, you
Uh,
never know. It might be able to.
yeah, never know, dude. You know. And I would love to get Vince from the Acacia strain. If he
Ooh.
would bless me with a feature, I would be the happiest man on the planet.
Yeah, that's possible. You guys are blowing up pretty well, so you never know, man.
I've asked him before, and he's just like, I don't do features, and I'm just like,
Ah,
oh, my man, please.
dang, that sucks. That would bum me out just a little bit.
Yeah, he
Um,
just influenced me so much. Just like growing up, you know what I mean? Like, I remember going to the VFW shows. I
mhm,
remember going to the altar bar shows. You know what I mean? Like, the shit's just crazy.
yeah. So you replaced two insane singers, CJ, and who went straight to Lorna Shore, and then Matt, who went to Chelsea Gren. What strengths do you feel your vocals brought replacing two huge names like that?
um, but I mean, like, I feel like that I bring more personality and emotion to the records
Mm-hmm.
and the music. Um, I believe that we're different um, in many ways. Where I feel like that it's brought a different light to the band.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely has because the band has grown to such uh, different avenues than we were on whenever I first joined. Um, the band definitely grew and evolved, like just like how we previously discussed in the beginning of the interview or whatever. Um, like I definitely like to think that I bring my own uh, type of style to things
Mm-hmm.
where I definitely had to have some like growing pains as I was like finding my footing with the band. Where I feel like that I got that footing whenever I worked on Absolver. Um, actually, I believe I found my footing like probably around Pernicious era. That's whenever I like really felt comfortable
Mm-hmm.
and felt in my own skin, and like I made my own voice for the band. And it was a transitional period, you know what I mean? So it was just different, but um, I'm very different from him,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe that I just do my thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I came from a different style of music. It was still metal, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like this
Yes.
extreme of deathcore whenever I did the transition. So the guys wanted different things from me than I anticipated. That were just like my signature sounds, you know what I mean? Where it's like my voice, where it's my unique sound. Um, I feel like that my voice is more unique, where my voice shines differently than previous people.
Oh yeah.
And that's only because um, I believe that sound has become very oversaturated.
Oh,
And
true.
I believe that I try to do my best on bringing fresh and different approaches to our genre
Oh
than
yeah.
previous material, you know?
Oh yeah. That all makes sense. With you doing so much already, what's left on your bucket list?
Um, I have quite a lot, to be honest. I barely even scratched the surface of what I wish I could do. Um, one of my bucket lists is I want to get my way to Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
I want to like play like a festival down there or something. Um, I would like to travel to more regions of the world I haven't been. I'd love to go to China. I would like happily go anywhere as long as I will be there comfortably and welcomed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my biggest thing is that I would like to try to orchestrate a festival that is all sponsored by cannabis companies,
Nice.
um, where it would be like a weed festival, but it's metal.
Yeah.
I believe that it's kind of lame how like cannabis industries kind of don't include metal and like alternative branding at all. You know what I mean? It's always like hippie-ish or
Yeah.
like peace signs or something. Like, where's my fucking skull? Fucking dabs falling out of its eye socket. It's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, but I feel like that's like one of my all-time goals, is
Mhm.
to kind of be a band on a festival like that,
That'd be
where I
cool.
had some type of influence of it actually happening. um, I have like a lot of big plot dreams where it's probably a long shot, but I didn't think that I would achieve half of what even a quarter of what I've done, to be honest, which I'm very grateful for. So it's just like you got to keep dreaming in order to
Mhm.
keep bringing new things into your life. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah.
maybe one of those things will end up happening, and then I'll have to replace that bucket list thing. Because like fuck, touring with Whitechapel was a bucket list thing for me, and
Mhm.
fucking I got to do it.
Yeah,
And
that's
that was
cool.
something that like I dreamed of whenever I was literally trying to attic. You know what I mean, dude? Like fucking just like trying to fucking be able to do any of that shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Hey, that's cool. I think you'll accomplish a lot of that. And then you've been in the industry for a while. What advice would you give your younger self?
if I could give myself my younger self advice, um, man, there's so much I would tell myself. You know what I mean? Um, Honestly, I just tell myself it gets better.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't want to tell myself to change anything because I'm glad I've gone through everything that I've gone through. It shaped me to be the artist and musician that I am.
Mhm.
Um, I just tell him it would get better because younger self wasn't in a good place. You know what I mean? And it's where a lot of like the fuel kind of came for select songs in this record, Amongst the Low and Empty. Um, like primarily melody. That one has a lot of stuff that I pulled out of my old diaries.
Hey, but that's good advice to give yourself for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so for someone listening to Signs of the Swarm for the first time, what three songs would you suggest them to listen to?
Um. Shit. I would tell them to listen to. I would tell them to listen to then one of the new songs, just because I know they're going to go back and listen to the other ones
Of
if
course.
they listen to at least one of those. At least I think I know they would. Because like I feel like that Amongst the Low and Empty just has so much to offer for a metal listener,
Oh
where it
yeah.
scratches that little niche for everybody. At least that's where I like to believe. Um, with in these three songs that we just released, I feel like that um, it would one of those would be good. I would definitely tell them to listen to Totem
Mhm.
from Absolver. Uh, that song is just relentless. It's just like a fucking train that just doesn't stop. Like,
Yeah.
um, or I'd tell them to listen to Unbridled because Unbridled is just very different, and it shows that we like to play around with different things, you know?
Mhm. Hey, those are solid picks. And what can we expect from you guys from 2023, 2024?
A lot of touring, a lot of sick merch. The merch that we got isn't even our entire spread.
Dang.
We have like limited exclusive stuff that we're gonna be coming up. Um, like just a lot of work to put it to make sure that the word gets around about this record.
Oh yeah.
Trying to engage with as many fans as we possibly can.
Mhm.
Um, but a lot of touring, a lot of shows.
I bet. And so where can everyone keep up with you guys and buy this amazing new record coming out?
For like general merch and stuff like that, you can get it at any merch store. You could go to sonsoftheswarm.com and it can navigate you to everything that you possibly need. You could join our mailing list, where it's just a simple input your email. We send you updates on what's going on with the band. Um, you can follow us on social media if you want to just be able to check us out on like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. We're pretty much everywhere. you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We try to keep up with the times and try to have something for um, like platforms that are coming up. Like for Facebook, we have like our own like fan group where it's called the Swarm. You could join that for free. We have a Patreon where if you would like to support the band, you get exclusive content that no one has access to. There's loads. You also can purchase things from Century Media Records. If any necessary need to get a specific vinyl that you want, you could get it through them. For European stores, we're at Empiricon. We're kind of all over the place. You could just type us in Google and it'll take you there. I promise.
Nice. That's awesome. And I'd like to thank you for being on the show.
No, I'd like to thank you for having me. I'm sorry for having that little mix up that we had with my tattooing schedule, but I appreciate you making time for me to be here. And it was great talking to you. And next time you're at a show, come say what's up, dude.
Definitely. And well, we're gonna end this. See you guys next interview.